provide you with the lowest per GB rates, night or day. SLT 4G, driving you ever forward.
Making headlines for First at 9. Away with norms. Prorogued Parliament convenes with the no confidence motion against the Prime Minister and the government, tabled and voted on.
If anyone wants to challenge it, they can move a resolution challenging the Speaker's decision tomorrow.
Null and void. Government ministers allege that due process wasn't followed in today's parliamentary proceedings.
Therefore, all other proceedings,
unless told otherwise. Government spokesperson Minister Mahinda Samarasinghe stresses that the government will continue to be until the President appoints a new Premier.
Until the President issues another gazette to say that he is appointing another Prime Minister, the present Prime Minister continues.
Faltering rupee. The central bank raises key policy rates by unexpected sums. Spinning advantage. Sri Lankan slow bowlers make life difficult for the visitors in the second test with England. Good evening and welcome to First at 9. I'm Dhamnik Ekanaik. Moving on to your top story this evening. The Parliament convened today for the first time since it was prorogued by President Maithripala Sirisena on the 26th of last month. The House met in line with the Gazette notification issued by the President on the 4th of November, and it comes in a backdrop where the Supreme Court issued a stay order yesterday on the President's proclamation to dissolve the Parliament until the 7th of next month. A motion of no confidence was also brought against the government today, questioning the legality of the appointments of the Prime Minister and the Cabinet. Meanwhile, with Speaker Karu Jayasuriya announcing that the government does not enjoy a majority in Parliament, a tense situation arose, following which the Parliament was adjourned until 10 a.m. tomorrow.
Delivering its much-anticipated verdict over the fundamental rights petition filed challenging the President's proclamation to dissolve the Parliament, the Supreme Court yesterday issued a stay order temporarily suspending the Gazette notification issued by the President until the 7th of December. In such a backdrop, issuing a statement yesterday, Speaker Karu Jayasuriya informed that the Parliament will be convened today in line with the 2095/50 Gazette notification issued by the President on the 4th of November. Before convening the Parliament, the Speaker called a party leaders' meeting this morning.
We have to resolve this by showing the majority. We will show the legal Prime Minister and the legal government of this country today. We are here at the Parliament since we do not fear anything. It's not about showing the physical strength, but as the government, we are ready to face anything that comes along the way. The opposition is at the Parliament today since they fear the public.
It was decided during the party leaders' meeting that the Parliament agenda will be decided when the Parliament convenes. During the meeting, the JVP handed a no-confidence motion against the present government, stating that the appointments of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa and the Cabinet are illegal.
The JVP handed over a no-confidence motion against the government as the appointments of Prime Minister and the Cabinet are illegal. Thus, we have no faith in the present government. We expect to pass the motion during the parliamentary session with a majority. In every way. If a debate arises over the agenda of the Parliament, we will use our majority. If not, we will use our majority to win the no-confidence motion.
Meanwhile, parliamentarians of the United People's Freedom Alliance headed by Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa and MPs of the United National Party headed by Ranil Wickremesinghe held meetings in the committee rooms today. Following all these manifestations, the Parliament met at 10 this morning. In protest of the current political situation, UNP parliamentarians came into the House wearing black ribbons with the slogan "For the Democracy." Public representatives of the UPFA, including Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, meanwhile took their seats in the government side in Parliament, while former Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe took a backbencher's seat. Meanwhile, State Ministers A.H.M. Fauzi and P.S. Senagamage, as well as Manu Shananayakara, who left his ministerial position recently, sat with the opposition in the Parliament. Foreign ambassadors were also seen in the invitees gallery of the House today. As per tradition, it is the President who usually heads the first session after the Parliament is prorogued. President Maithripala Sirisena, however, was not present in the House today, leaving Speaker Karu Jayasuriya to head the session. President's proclamation to reconvene the Parliament was presented by Secretary General of the Parliament, Dhammika Dassanayaka.
The Parliament will be convened on the 14th of November in 2018.
TNA parliamentarian M.A. Sumandiran proposed the Speaker that the session be continued by suspending usual standing orders which are adhered to during a first session after a prorogation of the Parliament.
Honourable Sumandiran.
Your attention, Honourable Speaker, to Standing Order 135, and I am moving that the standing orders be suspended for today's sitting. And as you can see, if this is moved by somebody other than a Minister of the Cabinet of Ministers, it shall be decided by a division in the House. So as I move that the standing orders be suspended for the day, I also move that the Honourable Speaker be pleased to present my motion for the suspension of standing orders for a division of the House to be voted upon.
Yeah. Whatever it is.
Honourable Speaker, I second it. I second Mr. Sumandiran's proposal.
However, Minister Dinesh Gunawardena, who was recently appointed as the leader of the House, presented the proposal to adjourn the Parliament.
And for the next day,
as per the agenda, the session must be adjourned after President's speech, so I propose the Parliament be adjourned until the next parliamentary session.
My submission. This is my submission.
Okay, I will finish.
No. Now it is very clear. Honourable Sumandaran moving a resolution. Honourable Vijita Herath, Honourable Anuradha Dissanayake seconding. There is no motion at the moment. Now you can't
Wait.
Only now the error of not handing a motion was accepted by Honourable Vijita Herath. He accepted that there is no motion and he walked up only now to hand over a motion. This can be only taken up on another day of parliamentary sitting.
Today is a special occasion, so I'd have to take the approval of the House and make a decision.
A vote was then proposed to decide on the further measures, following which Speaker Jayasuriya announced that standing orders are suspended for the day with a majority vote.
There is no norm in this Parliament to hold a vote for a no-confidence motion on the same day that it is tabled. You are violating norms of this Parliament.
Let the House decide. I am taking a vote.
Leader of the JVP then presented the no-confidence motion against Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa and the current government, which was seconded by JVP MP Vijita Herath. Leader of the JVP also proposed that the consensus of the House should be sought today itself.
The House proposes that there is no confidence on the Prime Minister, Cabinet of Ministers and the newly established government.
ගරු අනුරාධ දිසානායක මන්ත්‍රීතුමා විසින් ගෙනෙන විශ්වාස භංග යෝජනාව මම ස්ථිර කරනු ලබනවා.
The opposition then moved the division, and after the division bell was rung, Speaker Jayasuriya ordered the commencement of the vote.
We'll take a vote. I have to give one eyes.
At this juncture, a tense situation erupted inside Parliament.
මට මේ අවස්ථාව දෙනවද? ඡන්දය ලබා ගැනීමේ අවස්ථාව දෙනවද? බෝතරේ I recognize. සෙන්කෝලේ මම පිළිගත්තා. සෙන්කෝලේ පිළිගත්තා. මේ ඡන්දය ගන්න අවස්ථාවක් දෙනවද නැත්නම් මට වෙනම තීරණයක් දෙන්න වෙනවා. මට හඬානුව තීරණයක් දෙන්න වෙනවා. තමුන්නාන්සේලා එතන වඩලා කරන මේ යෝජනාවට පක්ෂව මේ යෝජනාවට විපක්ෂව පක්ෂන ඒ අනුව හඬානුව මේ හඬානුව මට දැනට පත්වරදී ආණ්ඩුවට බහුතරයක් බයිනේම් ගමු. මට මහජන මතයට කන් දෙන්න ඕනේ.
Speaker then claimed the majority of parliamentarians literally raised their voices in support of the no confidence motion and announced that the motion was passed with the majority vote. Apart from the 6 JVP parliamentarians, 14 TNA parliamentarians, 98 UNP MPs, current state ministers AHM Fauzi and Piasena Gamage as well as Manusha Nayakara, who left his ministerial position recently, also signed the no confidence motion against the government and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. The parliament was then adjourned until 10 am tomorrow. Later issuing a communique, the Speaker's media unit said that a copy of the no confidence motion and the decision of the House in that regard, with signatures of 122 parliamentarians, has been sent to the President, declaring that the Prime Minister and the Cabinet of Ministers appointed by him recently are unconstitutional in order to take appropriate action according to the Constitution.
පාර්ලිමේන්තුව 21 වෙනිදාද හෙටද රැස් වෙන්නේ තීරණය කරන්න. පාර්ලිමේන්තුව හෙටද පස්සේ යෝජනා කරන්න. පාර්ලිමේන්තුව කවුද රැස් වෙන්නේ? හෙට උදේ 10ට පාර්ලිමේන්තුව රැස් වෙනවා ඇති.
Now, following the adjournment of the parliament, parliamentarians Vasantha Senanayak and Vadivel Suresh, who crossed over to the interim government, pledged their support to the United National Front. MP Senanayak in particular said that he will be resigning from his ministerial position and the President will be informed of the decision. Given the magnitude of what had gone before, numerous members of Parliament expressed their take on the events which unfolded in Parliament.
පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ අද පෙන්වලා දීලා තියෙනවා
The parliament has shown that Mahinda Rajapaksa does not enjoy the majority. We're trying to recover the parliament, which was prorogued unconstitutionally. Together with Harin Fernando, I will get plantation workers their 1,000 rupee wage. I'm a member of the UNP and an organizer. I joined hands with the government under the premise that they have the majority. It is difficult to hold ministerial positions in a government that does not have the majority. I will meet the president in this regard. This is why we made a request to remove certain parts of standing orders through a vote, following which we called a vote on the no confidence motion. They should understand that standing orders can be suspended. Given the current situation in the country, the Speaker allowed the majority to make a decision on the no confidence motion. It is very clear that Ranil Wickremesinghe does not enjoy the majority. Hence, a no-confidence motion was brought and a vote was called. Can you tell me the number of votes in favour of the motion and against the motion? These things should be done through provisions available in Parliament. They resorted to this since they do not have the majority. Attempts are being made to appoint a Prime Minister within Parliament by using the powers vested on the Speaker. Parliament does not possess that power. They informed that a vote was decided through a voice vote. It is an utterly undemocratic act. Shame on the Speaker's behaviour. The no confidence motion was passed through a voice vote and they did not allow the Speaker to proceed. The Speaker agreed that we have the majority. A motion of no confidence could only be brought following the suspension of the standing order. It was clear that the no confidence motion was brought long before. They suspended the standing order and presented a copy of the motion. Today's session was a joke. Not even the heads were counted and they decided it by voice.
මගේ කාමරේ පාර්ට්නර් එන්න පමත් එක පාර්ට්නර් වෙන්න.
Now, Minister of Foreign Affairs Dr. Sarath Amunugama stresses that the suspension of standing orders in Parliament was done in violation of due process. Therefore, he says that all activities and proceedings in Parliament today are null and void. These thoughts were expressed at a media briefing organised by government ministers at the parliamentary complex just after the session was adjourned.
In order to overcome this order paper, without any warning, Mr. Sumandiran called for a suspension of standing order. It was not put to the vote because every suspension of the standing orders must require the consent of a majority of persons in that chamber. So that action was not gone through. Therefore, all other proceedings are null and void. The Speaker had no business to proceed with the rest of the things that he did today because that the amendments or the suspension of the standing orders did not have the full concurrence of the House. He can't say that by voice vote he did that. He did not give an opportunity for us, for the government, to call for a vote on that subject, for a division. What was handed over by the AVP was not circulated to anybody. Nobody knew what was there. Simply because somebody it must be printed, it must come to the order paper, and for the dignity and value of the members of Parliament, they must have time to study and make a response. If the Speaker's procedure was valid, then anything could have been done today. They could have hung people, they could have put people in prison. We cannot agree that this has been legitimately passed by Parliament.
We are prepared to work according to the determination of court. There is the legislature, there is the executive, and these two have to work together in combination. There cannot be a government running with a hostile speaker and a hostile parliament. The parliament is the place where all the bills are being passed. Parliament is where the money is voted. Therefore, the parliament is a necessary, essential feature for the executive to function. But if the parliament begins hostile activities, then the parliament has to be restored according to the powers vested in the president. And that is what is being questioned. And now the matter is before the court. Therefore, we will not proceed to say anything more. Court has said, let everything stay where they were until we give the final determination. And we stay with the Speaker's attitude of disregarding all rules, disregarding all the procedure, warrants us to call the Speaker's activity illegal and ultra-virus. And therefore, we shall not abide by his rulings.
In the meantime, reiterating that the United National Front enjoys the majority in Parliament, its leader Ranil Wickremesinghe challenges those questioning the decision given by the Speaker today to contest it in Parliament tomorrow. Addressing a media briefing held at the parliamentary premises following the adjournment of the House, the former Premier expressed confidence that any resolution brought against the Speaker's decision will be defeated.
Today, the historic day, the Parliament voted that the 3 gazettes which has been in question are illegal and that the purported government of Mahinda Rajapaksa does not have the confidence in the House. This is what is required under Article 42 of the Constitution. Yesterday was a historic decision which was a stay order confirming the superiority of the Constitution, and today the Parliament, the political arm, has acted by showing that the so purported administration who can claim to have a majority. There were disturbances, but there were no speakers. So the Speaker put it to vote and he declared it passed by a voice vote. After that, he offered to take the vote by name, a roll call, but he was prevented from doing so, and the Speaker has declared the motion carried by a voice vote. 122 members of Parliament have now informed the Speaker that they voted in favour of the resolution. That's the majority of the House. Cannot be challenged, but if anyone wants to challenge it, they can move a resolution challenging the Speaker's decision tomorrow. We can put it to vote and I can tell you it will be defeated. It is incorrect to say the Parliament broke up without a decision. It's a breach of the Parliament's powers and privileges. This is also to inform government servants and the police that you cannot carry out illegal orders. It must carry out the orders of the lawful government. We will now be taking our steps to ensure that the government in place 2 weeks ago on Friday still continues as it should be.
The incumbent Prime Minister was removed from office, a new Prime Minister was appointed, a cabinet was appointed, Parliament was prorogued, subsequently Parliament was dissolved. All these actions were in contravention of the Constitution of the country. And we, on the basis of a policy decision, decided, the Tamil National Alliance, that we will oppose such action on the part of the executive. And the independence of the legislature had been demonstrated by the decision taken by 122 members against the present government. It's time now for the country to return to normalcy, for good governance to prevail, and we would appeal to all those persons in authority to do the right thing.
Hey, man, that pen.
Now, given the manner of proceedings in Parliament today, Cabinet co-spokesperson Mahinda Samarasinghe expressed his confidence that the President will seek legal advice before responding to the no-confidence motion sent in by the Speaker. Speaking to journalists at the Cabinet media briefing today, the Cabinet co-spokesperson also said that Mahinda Rajapaksa will remain the Prime Minister until such time the President issues a Gazette notification declaring otherwise.
Do you accept the resolution that was passed in Parliament today? If not, what exactly the state of the government of Sri Lanka?
The Speaker has issued a press statement. The President will be given this 122 signature, no confidence motion, which was adopted by a voice vote. Once the President receives this, I have no doubt that the President also will seek legal advice, that whatever the President is going to do in the future will be based on the constitutional provision.
A government right now in this country?
Of course we do. Until the President issues another gazette, to say that he is appointing another Prime Minister. The present Prime Minister continues.
You are watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Derana 24/7.
Welcome back. You're watching First at 9. Now, Sri Lanka's central bank unexpectedly raised its key policy rates today. Central bank aims to defend the faltering rupee as foreign capital outflows pick up amid escalating political uncertainty and rising US interest rates.
The central bank raised standing lending facility rate by 50 basis points to 9%, its highest since 2013, and increased the standing deposit facility rate by 75 basis points to 8%, its peak since 2009. The Monetary Board also cut the statutory reserve ratio by 150 basis points to 6% to cushion the impact of higher interest rates and to boost credit demand. In a statement, the central bank said that the reduction in SRR is expected to release a substantial amount of rupee liquidity to the banking system, thus reducing the cost of funds of banks. It added that the Monetary Board arrived at the decision following a careful analysis of current and expected developments in the domestic and global economy and the domestic financial market. Monetary Board aims to stabilize inflation at mid-single-digit levels in the medium term to enable the economy to reach its potential. Sri Lanka's key rates had been kept steady since a surprise cut in April. The central bank went on to say that Sri Lanka's economic growth is likely to remain subdued and below the envisaged levels in 2018, warning that short-term monetary and fiscal stimulus is unstable and leads to overheating of the economy. Officials also say that headline inflation is expected to stay within the targeted range of 4 to 6% next year.
And now to bring you a market update, the all-share price index closed weaker today due to the prevailing political situation and the policy rate hike. Foreigners bought a net 26.8 million rupees worth of stocks today, but have offloaded equities worth 7.7 billion rupees owing to the political situation prevailing from the 26th of October. We now have Amanda Lokugamage from First Capital Holdings with a detailed report.
All share price index ended in red, reverting the positive sentiment witnessed for the last three trading sessions, dragged down by Dialog and LOLC. Index witnessed a volatile trend throughout the day, reaching an intraday low of 5,931 prior to closing the day at 5,947, losing 46 points. Nearly 65% of the turnover was derived from crossings, while volume dipped compared to previous day. A net foreign inflow was witnessed for the third consecutive day, amidst high foreign participation.
Now to bring you up to date on currency, Sri Lankan rupee fell to a record low of 176 rupees and 60 cents against the US dollar today as political uncertainty outweighed the positive impact of the policy rate hike. The rupee ended at 176 rupees and 50 to 60 cents per dollar compared with the previous close of 176 rupees and 5 to 30 cents. Let's now take a look at how the Sri Lankan rupee traded against other major currencies around the world. Now then, British Prime Minister Theresa May faces a crunch cabinet meeting today as she tries to win colleagues' support for a draft Brexit agreement between the UK and Brussels. Senior ministers gathered at Downing Street amid calls to reject the deal from both senior Brexiteers and Remain supporters. The PM is also continuing on one-on-one briefings with ministers on the plans.
Britain struck a draft divorce deal with the European Union after more than a year of talks, but opponents of the deal said they would vote the deal down in Parliament. Cabinet ministers arrived at the London residence of Prime Minister Theresa May last evening to read documentation on the draft deal. Prominent Brexiteers such as Conservative lawmaker Jacob Rees-Mogg and former Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson said May had sold out the United Kingdom and that they would oppose the agreement.
And I don't see how you can support it if you believe in the political economic freedom of this country. So if you ask my question, am I going to vote against it? The answer is yes. We're going to stay in the customs union on this deal. We're going to stay effectively in large parts of the single market. And that means it's vassal state stuff. We are going to, for the first time in 1,000 years, will not have a say over the laws that govern this country. It will mean that we are having to accept rules and regulations from Brussels over which we have no say ourselves. It is utterly unacceptable to anybody who believes in democracy.
Well, if what we've heard is true, this fails to meet the Conservative Party's manifesto, and it fails to meet many of the commitments that the Prime Minister makes. It would keep us in the customs union and de facto in the single market. This is the vassal state. It is a failure of the government's negotiating position. It is a failure to deliver on Brexit, and it is potentially dividing up the United Kingdom.
You are watching Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
Now moving on to your weather forecast. The cyclonic storm Gaja is currently located over the central Bay of Bengal. Under this system, heavy showers and strong winds are expected to enhance over the northern province from tomorrow onwards. Heavy showers above 150 millimeters can be expected in the Jaffna Peninsula, while heavy falls of 100 millimeters can be expected in the areas in the northern province. Showers are forecast for Anuradhapura and Puttalam districts, as well as, or more like fair weather, will prevail in other parts of the country. Meanwhile, very strong winds of 60 to 80 kilometers per hour can be expected in over northern province, particularly over Jaffna Peninsula from tomorrow onwards. And here is a look at your city by city forecast. And that's it from all of us here at First at 9. And before we go, we'd like to take you to Nanue. Lying almost along the misty peaks of the Central Hills in the country, Nanue is famed for being the railroad entrance for Nuwara. Today, Nanue station is popular for being one of the major stops on the scenic ride to Alla and being the closest train station to Nuwara. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Bringing you the news and information 24 hours a day. This is Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.